Okay, I think I'm live. I think I've got a whirly wheel on the screen, so I'm not sure, but aha, yes, I think I am. Right, okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say I really everybody new who's joined the group recently. It's absolutely fantastic to have you on board. So I wanted to use this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the group, a little bit about me, a little bit about what I do, and a little bit about what the group is here for. So I'm going to cover a little bit about that tonight. Like to say a really warm welcome to everybody who's tuning in either now or on catch up. So, you know, it's great to see you, and I hope that you find this update useful as well. So I'm going to cover, so I'm just going to do a bit of a recap of a few things that some of you will certainly already know, so do please bear with me. But I'm also going to do a little bit of an update about my approach to weight loss, a little bit about YourOneLife and why I started it. And so some of you already know that, but some of you don't. Talk to you a little bit about my framework, and then I'm going to talk about my plans for the next few months and what basically is going to be available to support you, some of which will be completely and utterly free, which is obviously everything that's going to be in this group. And what other things that I've got coming online that may be of interest to you, especially if you really struggle to keep on top of your weight, and if you're anything like I used to be, you know, there's sort of, you know, a few pounds on, a few pounds off, and, you know, it just drives up the wall. Without further ado, if you are watching live, if you wouldn't mind just sort of putting a little thumbs up or comments in the box, because what that will do is will tell other people, it will appear in their notifications that I've gone live, and they then might want to tune in as well. So it would be great if anyone is watching, if you could do that. And if you are watching on replay, perhaps if you just pop replay in the comments as you're watching again, so I know who's seen it, that would be marvellous. Right, okay, so I'm going to just start off with saying a little bit about me and how I ended up going down this route and starting YourOneLife. So basically, all my life, as long as I can remember, I struggled with my weight, and I was either losing weight or putting it on. I was never in that sort of happy medium of a healthy weight. I was always very envious of anyone who was, and you know, obviously thought there was something wrong with me. And I also started smoking. I had low self-worth, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and I developed a very unhealthy relationship with food. Control, wanted that instant gratification, and I certainly didn't connect my behaviour with my body. So yeah, I knew I was eating too much, but you know, it's easy at the time to eat too much because the results of your overeating don't appear for, you know, immediately. It's a little bit down the line that starts happening, and so I just really didn't have much self-control over anything I did, really, to be fair. I mean, I wasn't as you know, the point of where I was, you know, bulimic or anorexic or anything like that, but I certainly had a disordered relationship with food. There's no doubt about it, and I just would ignore the full signals and just keep eating because I liked food and it was comforting, and you know, I would eat to celebrate, I would eat to commiserate, I would eat to comfort myself, I would eat because I was bored. You know, I would just eat for any good reason, really. And certainly not just when I was hungry. And then I hit my mid-30s, and I really started to pay attention to that big fork in the road of, like, crikey, if I carry on like this, and I carry on smoking, and I carry on eating like this, and I'm not exercising, where am I going to end up? It's really not going to be great at all. And I just thought, you know, I need to do something about this. because I don't want this to be my life. So I started to do a lot of work on myself, a lot of self-help. I also had some help externally with counselling and hypnotherapy, and joined gyms and things like that. And over a period of about 5 years, from 2006 to 2011, I really started to get results. And I stopped smoking in 2006. So that's 14 years ago now. And I have been able to control my weight for the last 10 years. So I've been a healthy weight for all of that time, except there was a little blip 3 years ago where I had some personal problems that I was very much in danger of losing control again. But I remembered everything I learned and I brought everything back under control. So it never did become the problem that it potentially could have done. I'm very proud of myself for that, actually. And during that sort of time, sort of from 1997 up until 2 years ago, I worked in the public sector. I started off as a prison officer, and I got very, very involved in the addictions field. I ended up working started working with the NHS as part of the community drug team, working in the police station. So I got in addictions therapy, things like that. And that's when I started to realise that, I clearly had addictions, in smoking for one, but also, the way that I was eating was very much a kind of addictive kind of behaviour. So I got very, very interested in an approach called motivational interviewing. I use that a lot in my work now. And then sort of rolling forward to 2017, my father became very, very ill, and I had to take some time out of work to look after him. And of course, things like that really do make you look at what's going on in your life, and what it is that you want to do. And during that time, I decided to start a psychology degree, just because I wanted to fill my time with something, and feel I was doing something useful. And it really was. It was like a switch was flipped, and suddenly my life started to change direction as I realised that this was really where my passion was. And sadly, my father passed away, and I really wanted to do him proud, do my family proud, do myself proud, and think, what can I do? How can I use this as an opportunity to make things better? And I realised that I wanted to set myself up as some kind of coach. I didn't really know what. I started looking into it, started to explore it, and I realised that over the years, a lot of people had sort of said to me that I inspired them, that I motivated them. They would ask me for advice about smoking and losing weight and fitness and things like that. And I thought, what? This is where I need to be focusing my attention. This is what I love. And I clearly have got a lot of experience and have been very successful. So how can I pay that forward? So I decided to leave my job and retrain. So I took a year out, loads and loads and loads of courses, coaching courses, other courses, and including a level 4 personal trainer course where I specialised in obesity. And so then March of this year, week before lockdown, I started my business. So not the best of timing, but in actual fact, it turned out to be a really, really good time, because I'd always intended on working online mostly. And of course, with lockdown, we didn't have any choice. Everything had to be online because of social distancing. So I decided to sort of use that to my advantage and see, how can I help people, going down this road online. And I started initially focusing on sort of general lifestyle coaching, general sort of healthy habits. But as I started to work with clients, and I was being told as a new business, you really need to niche in your market, and I'm like, yeah, but I want to help everybody. But it was very interesting because I think it was in May. My ideal client presented herself to me. Lovely young lady who has a significant amount of weight to lose, and we started working together. And then it very quickly became clear that I had an approach that I could turn into a framework that I could apply, not just to one-to-one clients, but also in a group setting. So I put it out there, and I'd started this group by then. Had a few members, and so I started to ask the members, what would you like to see? Do you think would you be interested in doing a course if I did a course all about preparing for weight loss? Because one of the things that I have been very clear about in terms of my approach is that it's about what you do before you start something that really, really makes the difference. So thinking about my work with addictions, thinking about my own success in stopping smoking and my own success in losing weight, it was the work that I did on myself before I started that was the most important part of the process, and it was really what made me successful. So I called it Preparing for Weight Loss, and I pulled my framework together. And so I put it out there, and 10 people signed up, and the impact, I have to say, was incredible. It was far more successful than I ever expected it to be, and I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. It was very stressful because I was literally writing it as we were going, and we were sort of trying things out. I called it the beta version because it was basically the version where I make all the mistakes and use the feedback to obviously adapt it and make it better. And everybody who did the course was absolutely wonderful and very patient with me and gave me lovely feedback. And they obviously all had the opportunity to tell me what they thought worked well, what they thought might work better in the future. So obviously I've got all of that feedback now, and I am going to run it again at some point. And I also decided that obviously I didn't want to leave people high and dry. That I needed to offer something on an ongoing basis because I didn't want to just sort of do the course and then leave them with okay, off you go into the sunset, goodbye. I really wanted to be able to offer some ongoing support. So that's one of the reasons why we have this group, is because it will do a little bit of that. But I also have a members club now as well, which is primarily for people who've done the course, come out the other side. But at the same time, I also want it to be available to anyone, even if whether you've done the course or not, because the content of it is going to be very much around my framework in general, where no matter where someone is on their journey, it's going to be helpful. So I'm going to come on to that a little bit more in a little while. So yes, and I wanted this group to be available just so that there is an option of free support, because I really feel so passionately about what I do, and I know that my approach really can make a huge difference in terms of success or not. Obviously, there's only so much I can do in the free group, there is more structure in obviously the courses and the membership, and obviously my coaching, but obviously I want to do what I can here as well. So the only trouble with all of that, because it was all a bit of a roller coaster, and it certainly wasn't how I expected my business to be going, because when I started I was thinking I was just going to be working one-to-one with people. I didn't expect to be doing groups or memberships or anything like that, but it's kind of really exciting. But I found that I was just working all the time, even though it didn't feel like work, and I was just I want to do this, I want to do this. I suddenly realised I was going from week to week without even sitting down on the sofa. I was just sitting on my computer all the time. And then, and I'm still trying to do some of my studies, and I've got a course that I'm going away on at the end of February, and there's loads of pre-course learning that I need to do, and I haven't done it, and I'm starting to panic, and I'm thinking, goodness knows when I'm going to get the time to do that, and then I've got to do the membership, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that, and I'm thinking, whoa, hang on a minute. And then I started getting some migraines, daily migraines, and that was a real wake-up call to me to say, like, stop, I need to stop, something's got to give, I can't carry on like this. Although I want to do all of these things and I'm really passionate about them, and I absolutely love my work, I can't do it all. And I can't do it all now. I need to slow everything right down. I'm going to come on to that in a little bit as to what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, so I was really starting to burn out, and so I have decided to completely change my plans. And that's why I wanted to talk to you all tonight and give you an update, because I thought if I write a post, I don't know, it's really hard to read things on Facebook sometimes, and it's really hard to get the message across. So I thought if I just give an update, and obviously you can then sort of perhaps be listening to it while you're doing something else or whatever, and then hopefully it'll give a bit more clarity about what I'm doing and what's going on. But before I do that, I'm just going to give you a little bit more about my framework and about my approach, because I think that might also help to sort of put everything in context. And it's basically the approach that I use for weight loss is something that I used when I stopped smoking, and it worked when I stopped smoking, and it worked when I decided to tackle my weight once and for all 10 years ago. And it's an approach that I've basically pulled together from basically everything that I've learned over my personal, professional life. Sort of, pulling out the best bits from things that I've read and done, and perhaps, ignoring some of the things I don't agree with, and pulled it all together. So, and I'm going to, I'll signpost you to the diagram on my website so you can have a look at it in your own time. But just to kind of sort of explain, the reason why we struggle with behaviour change, whether that be smoking or whether it be losing weight or anything else, is that it's really, really hard. And why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? And it basically boils down to the fact that when we're trying to change our behaviour, it's usually because we find it hard because we're trying to do two opposing things at the same time. We want two different things. So we're always going to be torn. So, when it comes to weight loss, if you're trying to lose weight, and also when it comes to weight loss, there's weight loss and then there's weight management. So there's the weight loss, you've got to work really hard if you want to lose the weight, because you've got to eat even less. And if you're trying to maintain your weight, you've still got to manage it so you don't put it back on. So there's two different sort of levels to this, but I'm not going to go into that tonight. But either way, basically, if you have a problem with your weight, so if your weight is more than you want it to be, it's usually because we are eating more than our bodies need. Okay, and the reason for that is because we want to eat more than our bodies need. So when we try to restrict that, we're immediately in that sort of state of having to deny ourselves things. So we want to eat as much as we want, and we also want to be a healthy weight. And unfortunately, they're not compatible, really, are they? If we want to eat as much as we want. So, and ultimately our actions, so what we do every day, makes it clear which one we really want, because that's the one we do, and then we'll end up with that body. So if we really want to lose weight, we'll lose it, and we'll end up with that body because we'll eat less. If we want the food more in the moment, because that's usually what it boils down to, is it's in the moment when we get caught short and we're like, oh, sod it, I'll do the diet tomorrow, I just, I can't be bothered right now. You end up eating more, so we don't lose the weight, so we end up with the body of that lifestyle. So when we're trying to do these two opposing things at the same time, it's almost like we're trying to do it against our will. So that makes being consistent really, really difficult. So we get so far, and then we give up. And then we go through it again and again And every time we do it, we think, right, this time I'm going to be really, really good. This time I'm not going to do anything bad, and I'm going to just stick with it for, you know, the next 3 months. And of course we don't, because we put unreasonable restrictions on ourselves that we can't stick to. And then we just keep going around that cycle over and over again. And that was me for many years. So to get different results, we have to change our actions. But to change our actions, we have to change what we want the most. Okay, so we've got to want to lose weight more than we want the food if we're eating too much. Yeah. So the way that I work is really sort of focusing right in on that and helping people to change what they want the most. And then there are a whole other parts of my framework that support that, so that everything fits together. So we look at exploring and changing what you want, giving you tools, information, strategies and things that fit with your life, not your next door neighbour's life or your best friend's life or your sister's life or your mother's life, or, you know, because everybody's weight loss journey is unique to them. What works for you won't necessarily work for somebody else. So it's really figuring out what is the right approach for you. And that's what I help people with, so that you can then be consistent with the behaviour that's required. And then the whole process becomes a hell of a lot easier and more pleasant. And then you get the results that you want and you keep the weight off. So when I work with people, what I say is that the main focus of the people that I work with is people who want to lose weight, either now or at a point in the future. So even if your goal is not to lose weight now, the work that I do is still helpful, because it's about getting into that right mindset and understanding all of the things that need to happen. So I have worked with a pregnant lady, and in fact she did a video course testimonial which is on my website. She hasn't had a baby yet, but she's found that the course really helped her to get a handle on eating healthily through her pregnancy, so that she didn't develop a weight problem through her pregnancy. You know, certainly not you know, with the intention of losing weight or restricting her eating. So that's sort of key thing really, is it's not necessarily about losing weight now. It's losing weight when the time is right for you, but understanding what is involved. But what I don't do is work with people who've got a history or current diagnosis of a diagnosed eating disorder, because that needs specialist help beyond what I deal with. So if that's the case, then I really would, you know, I'm happy to sort of help you find the right person to help you. And also I can't deal with anyone who's perhaps got some really active mental health issues, such as post-traumatic stress or depression, that's active and not under control. I mean, you know, most of us in our lives have had some kind of mental health issues. It's so common and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But it's when it's really active, trying to lose weight is not the right time when there are things like that going on. But obviously I can work with people where it is under control. So it's just important to be aware of that. And another thing to say is that what the course is or isn't. Sorry, I've lost my slides now. So what the course does, and also what I do, what I'm going to be doing in my membership, is to help you think about how to understand how to lose weight successfully and keep it off in a way that is right for you, helping you to develop your own plan based on what you learn, and working on there's sort of tasks and exercises that I get people to do to really get into the sort of like the detail in terms of, you know, that mindset shift that needs to happen. But what I absolutely don't do is promise people a quick fix. I don't tell you what to do. I don't give you a weight loss plan. I don't give you a nutrition plan. I don't give you an exercise plan. and I don't offer counselling. I need to be very clear that those are the things that I don't do. But obviously, if those are things that you need, then obviously I can signpost you to other people who can do those sorts of things. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my framework. So there's basically 4 elements to my framework, and I like to think of it as a jigsaw puzzle. So there are basically four of these pieces, and it's how these pieces fit together and how they work together that counts. So it's important to understand from the beginning what things we've already got in place, and then where are the gaps, and then what I do is I help you to find what those gaps are and to fill those gaps. So for example, I'll tell you a little bit about the 4 elements. So one is motivation and commitment, and that's where I start, because that's what you need to start. You need to be motivated, because motivation, after all, is it's a reason for doing something. So you've got to have a reason for doing it, otherwise you're not going to do it. You've also got to be committed to the process. So motivation and commitment is where I start with my approach. Then we go on to look at self-belief and confidence, and also a bit about self-worth, because it's really important. You could be highly motivated, but if you haven't got enough belief and confidence in yourself, then that old sort of enemy of self-sabotage is going to keep rearing its ugly head, and it's going to keep getting in the way, and not necessarily going to believe that you can do it. So that's an issue that really needs to be addressed. And also, if you are doing well and something derails you, that can really knock your confidence. And so it's really important to have an understanding of where you're at with that, and what needs to be done to kind of boost it, really. Then we go on to look at ownership and responsibility, because again, one of the key sort of aspects of any behaviour change is that sort of recognition that we are fully responsible for our own behaviour. And whilst there are things that influence our behaviour and can influence our behaviour very heavily, ultimately the buck stops with us. So there is no getting away with that, no getting away from that. And the thing is, that can be quite a bitter realisation, but the beauty of it is that once we do realise it, we also flip the coin and think, well, actually, if I'm responsible for getting here, then I've also got the power to actually do something about it, and then that can absolutely change everything. Then that penny drop moment is quite profound, in my opinion. And then finally, the final aspect is about having the knowledge, skills and tools, because again, if you could be really, really motivated, you could be feeling fully responsible for your actions and feel really, really high sense of self-belief. But if you haven't got the right knowledge and skills in terms of how to deal with situations, or understanding what's in food and what choices to make, then your efforts are not going to be successful. And then all that's going to happen is your confidence going to get knocked, motivation's going to go out the window, and then you end up blaming it on other stuff, and then the whole thing falls down. And then we go back down that vicious circle, back to the beginning. So my model, basically, my framework, works on all of these areas together, and they all sort of like bounce off each other, which is really, really nice, and it's great to see. So we work through that on the course, and that's what we're going to be working through in the membership as well. And I will share this diagram in the group, so you can have a look at it. So when we're sort of thinking about motivation and commitment, the sorts of things we're looking at is, what is it that you want? Why do you really want to lose weight? What is it about losing weight? What's it going to give you? How is it going to make you feel? What difference is it going to make to your life? Because if you haven't tapped into that, then you're not going to be committed. And so we work on that. And we look at, when it comes to self-belief and confidence, we look at, what things have you done in the past that have worked well? How can we apply that? What other things could you learn that you could apply. When it comes to ownership and responsibility, it's really learning how to pay attention and recognise what's going on, not be in that kind of like trance state where we just go on autopilot and we just do the same old responses to the same old situations. And it's so easy to do that, and then suddenly hang on a minute, how did I end up eating that whole bag of peanuts? Because we just don't pay attention. And then the knowledge, skills and tools, that's about developing strategies to work through things and knowing in advance, because we all know what our weaknesses are, don't we? We all know what's, if we we've got an event coming up, we know what's going to happen. So it's about having realistic expectations about that event, how to plan for it and how to deal with it. And really understanding what's going on in the body. So I think one of the things that I believe in passionately is that knowledge is power, or potential power. So it's only power if we actually use what we learn. So there's so much to go on. I mean, everyone who did the course will know that there was just so much information. The course probably could have been double its length, which is why I kind of think doing some of this in more detail in the membership could be quite helpful. And then we bring it all together, and then what I do is I help people to understand the different weight loss approaches, the pros and cons of those different weight loss approaches, help people to choose the right approach for them, and then set some realistic goals, and then obviously support people in terms of making their plan and going off and doing it. And then obviously the membership will then be there to support everyone on an ongoing basis. So that's my approach. So what I now want to just spend a few minutes on is just explaining the different options that there are that people can get involved in if they want to. I mean, obviously, we've got the free Facebook group, which is obviously, you're all a part of, which is available to you now. And, my intention is for it to get bigger and better and more structured, and obviously more interactive. So, this is your group. This is a group where you can post. You don't need to wait for me to post. This is about you using this group as a way to support each other and get the support that you need. So my intention certainly is to post most days, and try and give a bit of a mixture of support, motivation, inspiration, a bit of funny stuff, a bit of off-topic stuff, just to kind of have a bit of fun, but also I want to do these weekly live sessions. But I'm just thinking about, obviously, as I was saying earlier, about sort of not burning myself out. I was thinking committing to every single week would be probably a bit too much and a bit unrealistic. So what I'm thinking is sort of basically about 3 times a month I'll do a live session, and we'll do like we were doing before, where we can have a poll on what people want to cover, and then we'll open it up for questions, and then I'll address those questions in the live, and that will be on a Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. And just thinking about next week, actually, what I'm intending to do next week is to do a little bit of a Christmas survival live. So you may have seen that there is a post asking you what are your biggest challenges when it comes to Christmas, and obviously trying to avoid putting on too much weight. So do keep that thread going, because obviously I want to be able to address those questions as best I can, to give you a little bit of support over the Christmas period. So even if I'm not in the group very much, because I do intend on taking a little bit of a break, you will at least have something to go on, and obviously you can carry on posting in the group as much as you like. So that's basically the free level of what I offer. Then there's the members club. Now I want to give you a little bit of an update on this, because my intention had been originally that it was going to start, it was going to be available in November for everyone who'd done the course, so that it was completely free. and I was going to do some group sessions, which I did, and then I opened that up to members of this group as well, also for free, with the idea that from the 1st of December I would start charging £10 a month for December, January, and then from February it would go up to the £20 a month, which is what it's going to be on an ongoing basis after that. However, what I've realised is that that is far too much for me to commit to until I've got this course out of the way at the end of February. So what I've decided, and I have done a little bit of a brief live in the members club group, just particularly on this issue, but just to recap here, I have decided that what I'm going to do is, because I really want to do it properly, I don't want to just set up the membership just so, sort of like half-hearted, not be able to really make it work as well as it could. I really want to give my best, and I just can't at the moment. I can't do that until after my course is out of the way, and then it's going to need a little bit of lead-in time. So I'm looking now really realistically at beginning to mid-April to get it up and running. But in the meantime, I am leaving, because there are some resources in there at the moment, which I'd like to obviously leave available to you. Basically I'm going to make that available to everybody for £5 a month from now, so people can sign up to that now if they want to and be able to access the resources that are in there already. And also I will still be dipping in and out and providing a little bit of support, but it's not going to be what I intend it to be in the long term. And then from April, that's when it will be going up to £20 a month. But I will be doing some special offers around that. So I will obviously keep you posted on that nearer the time. But that's basically what it's going to be. So £5 a month from now up until the end of March. And then from April, it will be £20 a month. But as I say, do watch out for the special offers that will be available for people in this group. And that's going to include interactive group sessions, a minimum of 3 times a month, plus the various other benefits which are listed on my website. So you can have a look at that if you want to. I also do offer one-to-one coaching, as you know, and I love doing my one-to-one coaching, I really do, but I haven't had too much time for it at the moment because of everything that's been going on. But I am opening up 2 spaces from January. So if anybody is interested in doing some one-to-one coaching with me, I do have bespoke packages and prices. I don't sort of publish a specific price because everybody's needs are different, and it's so I can't sort of say it's this much an hour for how many sessions, because people need different things. Some people need sort of 2 or 3 sessions a week. Some people need 1 session a month, so it really does vary. So so I can't really sort of say very much about that, but I do have a form on my website, a contact form, which you can fill out, where you can obviously put in what it is you're looking for, what support you think you need, and then we can arrange a free chat to talk it through. So that's something that is available. I'm also going to be offering pay-as-you-go webinars, which is basically going to be the sessions that I'm going to do in the members club, but for people who don't want to join as a member but want to still access some of the sessions, then they will be pay-as-you-go. And they're probably going to start again probably around April time, when I've got more time to do them properly. As far as the weight loss course goes, the Preparing for a Successful Weight Loss course, there's going to be 2 versions of this, and one is going to be what I call a DIY version. So it's going to be online. You can literally buy it, download it, work through the lessons, and you'll also get a complimentary 30-minute one-to-one with me for that. And also there will be 1 group session in that as well. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work yet, but that is what's going to happen. And that's going to be £99, but it's also there's going to be an option to buy it for £49 if people also sign up to the membership for a minimum of 3 months. So the idea being that the membership will support your completion of the course, or you can just buy the course on its own. So, and then the other version is going to be the live version, so same as what I delivered back in September, but I need to have sufficient demand in order to be able to run it. So I need basically 10 people to sign up before I can actually run it. So if that is something that you're thinking about, then there are no dates set for that at the moment. I was going to do January, but again, for reasons that I've already explained, I just can't commit to that at the moment. I don't have the capacity, and I'm just going to burn myself out if I try and do that in January. So I'm really sorry to anyone who was sort of looking forward to perhaps doing that, but do get in touch with me, because we can have a chat about how I might be able to support you in the meantime on that. But yeah, so that's going to be £149 to do the course, but it will be £99 if you also sign up to a minimum of 3 months of the membership when it's open in April. So those are the options. And then finally, the thing that I'm really excited about is I'd always had this idea of doing an ebook, because the course itself, there's a lot of exercises in the course, and so I'd had the plan of sort of pulling it all together in a workbook. But what I've decided, because I don't want to leave anybody high and dry and waiting for the course and not have anything in its place until April, I'm working really hard to get my ebook ready for the 1st of January. So it's basically going to be based on the course. It's going to be everything that's in the course, but obviously the idea being you just work through it on your own, at your own speed. But obviously, you know, if you join the membership as well, then obviously I will be available to support you with that. Even at the £5 a month option, you know, there are. I am planning to do a little bit of support on you know, what's in the book. So yeah, so I don't know exactly what price that's going to be yet, but it's not going to be expensive, I know that. It's certainly not going to be as much as the course. So obviously I'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, I was really excited about that. I can't wait to get it finished. I've done the front page and I've done the introduction. And so I've got lots more work to do yet, but I've got all the information. I just need to basically just put it together and tidy it up and make it look pretty, and then it will be ready. So that would basically be available on a download. So watch this space. So that's basically everything that I wanted to cover tonight. I hope I haven't droned on for too long. I hope it's made some kind of sense and has hopefully given you a little bit more of an understanding about my approach, about what I do, about what's on offer over the next few months. I do also have a newsletter, so you can, if you want to, if you haven't already, if you're not already on my mailing list and you want to be, and you want to get the mailings, then do please sign up. You can visit my website, www.YourOneLife.co.uk, and if you just wait about 10 seconds, a big box will appear offering you a free download, and you just need to put your email in, and that is for my top tips to eat less without dieting. And oh, that's one other thing I should say actually, is that my approach works no matter what weight loss approach you are thinking of using, whether you want to do Slimming World, whether you want to do Weight Watchers, whether you want to do Lighter Life, whether you want to work with a personal trainer, whatever you want to do, because my approach is about what you do before you start, it fits perfectly. And also I can help to keep you accountable on an ongoing basis if that's what you feel you need. So for example, you know, if you want to go to Slimming World but you don't like the group meetings but you like the approach, then you know I can support you to sort of keep you accountable, and help keeping you in that right mindset to keep going. So that's where the membership might work very well alongside doing something like Slimming World or Weight Watchers. But it's, you know, it's a very individual thing. But I you know, I suppose what I'm trying to say is that my approach is very flexible, very broad, and it really is about what do you do before you start, as well as what do you do while you're doing it, and what do you do to keep the weight off. And that's a whole other story, which I don't have time for tonight. So next week I'm going to be doing, as I said, the Christmas survival tips. So if you want to take part in that, then please put your questions into the the post that is going on in the group at the moment. And I will see you next week at 7 o'clock. And take care. Bye.